Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit, Brexit Britain, a country where we are looking at Russia being banned from all sorts of different competitions, whether it's racing, that's the F1 racing, football, rugby, the Russian ballerinas, they've even been thrown out of Eurovision. You say, whoa, all these people have moved so quickly. Right? They see this type of issue going on in the world and they say, oh, whoa, we can't have that. Right? We can't have people being, with cluster bombs being dropped on them. Oh, no, we can't have that. No. Ooh, no, 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 no. Okay. What about the apartheid? What's going on in Palestine? Oh, well, that's not really our business, is it? How come none of these guys have not banned Israel as well? Israel should be banned from all these things. From years ago, Israel should have been banned from all these things. And today is the 1st of March, and still there has been no talk, right, from the statement, that was made by Amnesty International about the apartheid that has been committed on the people of Palestine. Where is the noise? And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. So we are in a situation, right, where Putin, right, is committing war crimes because the man is an absolute lunatic. Right, he's a psychopathic, murderous thug. Right, the war crimes the man is committing. Right, he's dropping cluster bombs. Right, cluster bombs in Europe. That's what Putin is doing, right? Today, yesterday, that is what he's doing, right? He's using illegal. Illegal bombs. They should all be illegal, but these type of weapons are certainly illegal. And then he's using this one called it's a vacuum bomb. Right, you think to yourself, isn't how man's brain works, the technology that man's brain can come up with? Because this bomb, it comes down, it explodes, right? So if the bomb doesn't actually blow you the fuck up, right, then what actually happens is it sucks all the air out of the area, right? So even if you're in a basement, right, it sucks all the air out of, I don't know what kind of range it sucks, but it sucks all the air out. So everybody who's within that range, right, will obviously die of air starvation. And you think to yourself, how can man, the ingenious stuff man can come up with? I mean, if there really is like a heaven and hell, do you think that someone who invented that kind of bomb, right, would be going to the pearly gates, or do you think the devil will just be there saying, haha, got some chains and a really nice hot room just for you? Right? These type of weapons, when you hear about these type of weapons, they are some of the most evil people in the world, right, who creates these type of weapons. I mean, you have to be evil beyond belief, right, to look at to look and think to yourself, oh, that'd be a good idea. If we don't blow them up with the initial blast, right, then we can suffocate them to death. I mean, the ingenuity to come up with something so magnificent, right? A way of just killing as many people as you can at once, right? That right is what a lot of the human race is based on. A lot of the human race is based on that, because I mean, how can you convince, right, soldiers, right, to be fighting near a maternity hospital? I mean, you see a maternity hospital there, right, and you're firing bullets around, and you're bombing it, shelling it. I mean, what kind of people what kind of human beings do that? And you see, I think Putin's massive miscalculation, is that, well, obviously he's fucking stupid, right? But his massive miscalculation, is that for some reason, it's like he doesn't realize that we're in times of like the internet and real social media, proper social media, where where things are coming up now in minutes, in on your phone. They're dropping these bombs, and they're murdering civilians, right? And it's flashing up on our phones. We're seeing it straight away. They can show us. They can show us, things that happened, just a couple of hours ago, or a few minutes ago, immediately. So we're seeing all these things. So I think that's what's making it even much worse than a lot of the things that have gone on before. Because you see, even for someone like me in the West, right, who it's difficult to criticize other armies' actions, especially because of the actions that our armies have taken, right? But the good thing is, for me, is I criticize the fuck out of our army as well when they go and they commit atrocities, right? So it don't matter. For me, it doesn't matter. I don't care who you are, whether and I criticize our soldiers much more. I still criticize every single one of them for what they've went and done in Iraq, right? In Afghanistan, because they're terrorists, right? In the same way, what these Russian soldiers are doing, right, are terrorists. They're all war criminals, right? And they should all be dragged to The Hague. There's nowhere else for them, right? I'm getting really concerned, right, because from what I'm seeing, right, the civilian population, right, in Ukraine, right, are not going to give up, right? And I've seen places where these people have got just hundreds of thousands of Molotov cocktails waiting for the Russians to get into the main city, right? So if the Russian soldiers come up against when they come up against civilians, right, who are throwing Molotov cocktails at them, I mean, the thing is, they've got to defend themselves, right? But in defending themselves, they're going to be murdering civilians. So I don't know. I just this has got a potential of turning into a real bloodbath, because because I'd be exactly where those citizens are. I'd just be in the centre waiting for these guys. And once you come in, right, then we're going to be dealing with hand-to-hand combat. But you're going to be fighting. You as a soldier are going to be fighting people in civilian clothing. So I don't. That situation can't be good, because soldiers shouldn't be interacting with civilians in the first place. Because soldiers don't have, you throw a Molotov cocktail at a soldier and they're going to shoot you and kill you. That's all they're going to do. That's what they're trained to do. I mean, you're throwing something that's lethal force at them. So that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to defend themselves, and they're going to kill you. Right. So is that what we're going to see? I don't, because I've seen like 40 miles. So it's 40 miles of trucks in one line, right? Heading probably to the capital. So so I could only imagine that there's going to be like there's probably going to be a lot of infantry soldiers in there, so that they can go and obviously try and take the city, and try and get hold of Vladimir Zelensky, and get hold of him, and put him on trial in Russia or whatever. Right. So, but they're gonna have to, they're gonna have to murder a lot of civilians to do that. That's what they're gonna have to do. So, so I can just see this thing turning into a real bloodbath, right? If they go into if they're going to the city themselves, because I'm telling you, those people are in there waiting for them, and they're not gonna, they're not gonna give up, right? And I just can't, it's gonna take, if Russia thinks that because obviously they thought that this would all be over by now, right? So that's why some of their tanks and some of their trucks, yeah, run out of fuel, because obviously they wasn't expecting such a fight from the Ukrainians. But obviously the Ukrainians are saying, well, you know what, you're going to have to you're basically going to have to slaughter us, right, to do what you want to do. we're not going to give up. So this situation is very, very tense. It's a very, very tense situation, and all we can do is hope and pray, right, for the best out of this situation. That's all we can do. Do you know what I mean? But I can see a real bloodbath. I mean, you've got Russia, threatening, thermonuclear war. So I mean, threatening nuclear weapons. And there's only, for the nuclear weapon, the whole nuclear weapons thing, there's only two solutions to it. There's two solutions. Either everybody should be able to have them so they can protect themselves, right, against tyrants like Putin. Because, if you haven't got nuclear weapons, right, you've got people like, if you're going to have leaders around the world like Putin, right, then you really need something to be able to protect yourself with. Right, it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing that there are a few countries in the world, and it's a good thing that Russia's not the only country that's got nuclear weapons. Because if they was the only country that had nuclear weapons, right, this man would be behaving exactly the same as Hitler now, right? But he knows that if he was to fire a nuclear weapon, he's got at least probably 6 of the allies, that's going to fire nuclear weapons at Russia. So he knows. So obviously he knows that would be suicidal, but he can still threaten it, right? So this is why the world really, the truth is, the world really needs to be rid of nuclear weapons, and so that should be the thing, and that should be the thing. The world just needs to be rid of these weapons because these type of weapons, you can't have people like like Putin thinking it's okay to start threatening nuclear weapons. I mean, they did blame it. They said, we're not going to name the person because they said it's because of Britain why we're threatened, because we feel threatened by Britain. This is what the Russians said. But we're not going to name the actual person who it is, right? But it's something to do with the Foreign Secretary. So that would be Pencil Neck Tin Lizzie Trust. All right, has upset the Russians so much that they want to create a thermonuclear war. Right, just imagine that. That's how far the woman has gone in her life. Right, so it's that they are talking about now war crimes, because all of this is all war crimes that Russia is committing. All of this is war crimes, right? Now, as we see, right, how Donald Trump, right, can get away, right, with loads and loads of criminal activity, right, because of his Caucasian skin. We're going to see now, right, whether or not, right, a Caucasian, you wage a war, right, in Europe, whether or not, right, you're dragged off to The Hague. We're going to see now, right, because there's a whole lot of war crimes here. Right? And this man has to be held accountable for what he has done. Has to be held accountable, right? I mean, it's a good thing that that they've been thrown out of all the football competitions, the rugby, the Russian ballerinas or whatever it is, the Eurovision out of, they're throwing them out of all these things. Russia can't compete in anything anywhere around the world, and that's a good thing, right? But they should also extend that to Israel. Right, because Israel should stop committing an apartheid on the Palestinian people. All of these things, all of this should be extended to Israel as well, because they're committing war crimes on a daily basis against the Palestinian people. Right, but anyway, let's speak about some Brexit, because I'm already 14 minutes in and I'm supposed to be doing 15 minutes. Right, so the UK signs Brexit trade deal with New Zealand, promising, so it is 0.02% boost to GDP by 2035. So did you get those figures? So that was 0.02%, right, which equates to, right, over the next decade, right, which equates to £12 for each of us. So obviously the next very important question, there's a very important question next, right? What are you going to do with your £12? Actually, first, stupid me. I mean, how would you want the money? Would you want it like all in one hit? So you've got it in the bank, it's all there, one hit. Boom, your bank account is raised by £12. Or would you want them to like spread it out for you over the next decade? So it's just like every year they just give you your portion of that £12. I mean, you're looking at me as if to say, well, how would you want this? Well, me, I'll probably just take mine in one hit, because that's the way I think. That's the way how that's the way how you just deal with money, especially money like that. You just take it in one hit. So, anybody think it was worth leaving the EU for the £12 over the next decade? And the bitter EU have threatened to stop access to free flow of data between the EU and Britain if Britain goes through with a deal with Australia and New Zealand. Those EU, they're so belligerent and bitter. And you have to wonder, why do we care about your data? Keep your data. You should tell Facebook that. Right? Keep your data. We care about your data. Imagine, right, that why are we even worried about this? I mean, what kind of power, right, do the EU believe that they still have over us? That they can tell us if we do a deal, right, then they're going to stop. I somehow have a feeling, right, that this flow of data is very important to us. Right. You know how the EU just said to the scientists the other day, they said to them, you guys, right, your boys, they're not playing the game. Right? You're not dealing with the matter. So what you can do is piss off. That's what they said to the scientists, and they're very highly educated people. This is the problem, right? How they told us, right, that the EU need us much more than we need them. So why is it, that we are chasing around, right, begging the EU for all sorts of different stuff all the time? Well, we're begging. Everything we're doing is begging. And the EU's just sitting there saying, well, no, we're not really feeling that. Do you know what I mean? Unless right, we do exactly what they say. Right, when they say to us, well, what we need you to do, we need you to jump on one leg between this hoop. And we're like, how big is the hoop? Because we've got no choice. We've just got to do as we're told. Right? Because you know what? We are a bunch. Well, I said we. You, Brexiters, are a bunch of racist Egypts. Anyway, guys, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm James C. John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.